welcome back to yet another Buffalo Bills pregame show. Man, is it good to be a Bills fan right now. The Bills are coming off 3 big wins, 2 come from behind fourth quarter victories. Josh Allen looks fantastic. We're on pace for a 16-0 season, and I don't see it going any other way. How about you, Jared?
Well, do you want the good news or the bad news?
What possibly could be bad news? Let's get that out of the way.
All right, you asked for it. Guys, remember how I said in the last video that I think the Bills are going to be 7-9?
7-9.
Guess what I predicted them to be at this point in the season?
2-1.
3-0. They are exactly on point to where I thought they were going to be. But you know what? I'm kind of glad you asked me for the bad news, because now I can actually just be positive for the rest of this video. Josh Allen has exceeded my expectations beyond any scope that I can measure. He's one of the best QBs in the NFL statistically. Given how bad he was 2 years ago and how good he was starting to look last year to how great he is now, and we put it on his shoulders, Randy. We said, Josh, it's up to you, because we gave him every possible offensive advantage, and he's taking advantage of it. He's also taking advantage of the fact that there's no defense in the NFL right now because of COVID, basically. But overall, the team looks really, really good, and despite it does line up with my prediction, they still look way better than I expected. Like, for example, I don't see the Jets beating them now like I did before. And then there's, like, the San Francisco is beatable. The Chiefs, I think, could be a close game. Matter of fact, I would have thought we could have beaten the Chiefs if it wasn't for the comeback by the Rams. So that's what my thoughts are on how good the team is.
It's hard to say anything negative about what's going on, but I think we would be remiss if we didn't bring up that the Bills' third quarter performance is dismal. They're outscored 24-7 so far this season in the third quarter, and it doesn't seem like halftime adjustments by the coaching staff have been especially effective. Sean McDermott's gotten a lot of credit in almost every regard. Do you put this up to coaching, or is it coincidental? What do you see being the cause of the third quarter lackadaisical football performance?
I think each game has had a false sense of security, including from myself. By the time the Bills were up 28-3, like, I was making phone calls with friends. You know, I had the game on mute, and I'm like, okay, well, here's 3-0. You know, talking about random things, and I'm like, oh, they scored a touchdown, no big deal. So I think from the team's perspective, they're getting too comfortable, quite honestly, and that's what's going on in the third quarter.
Well, it's hard to hope that they don't continue doing so well in the first half, I suppose, but we'd like to definitely see some improvements coming up right out of halftime from this team. Getting ready to travel to Vegas. This is the first time we've ever faced any NFL team from Vegas, but it's kind of not your typical Vegas trip because the team is in a bubble. McDermott won't be up and down the strip chasing players back to their hotel rooms at night, just by their own restrictions.
Right.
Any thoughts on there being a team in Vegas this year?
I'm happy for the Vegas people of Vegas, like the actual people who live there. However, I honestly feel that this team is not for them. It's for the people who come to Vegas to visit. And I feel that that's almost a tragedy in itself. I feel very bad for the fans in Oakland. I feel bad that they've lost their team. I also don't feel that bad, because I feel that if the Rams, the Chargers, and the Raiders hadn't moved, it might have been the Bills. So that's my thoughts on Vegas there.
Looking at the Raiders, you know, from our offensive perspective, we're going up against a defense that has been porous. They were averaging 30 points a game allowed so far. Do you feel, with the way our offense is performing, is there any way we don't surpass the 30-point mark in this game?
Well, we didn't against the Jets, which is sort of telling, right? Maybe we just weren't
That
really...
was like a preseason game, though.
Perhaps. We should. I mean, that's a simple question, honestly. Like, they should pass 30 against this team. I mean, and it's scary that we're actually at the point where we're saying, oh, 30 points, no big deal. But, I mean, the fact that the Raiders let the Panthers even score that much against them tells you something, too.
On the other side of the ball, hard to believe that if we score 30 points that we're not going to be able to hold them less than that. But there are a lot of weapons on the Las Vegas offense. Darren Waller, the tight end, has been playing well this season, and we have perhaps shown some vulnerabilities against the tight ends. Any ideas on how we stop Darren Waller in the passing game?
A lot of it has to do with our linebackers being healthy for starters. If you look at the first few weeks, Milano got hurt in the first game, and there was 6 receptions from the tight end, and then gesicki pretty much, I don't want to say destroyed us against the Dolphins when we played the Dolphins, but yeah, 8 catches, 130 yards, 1 touchdown. And we had no linebackers that game, or at least not our starting ones. And then last week, only 2 receptions from their starting tight end. However, the Rams have a lot more weapons than the Jets and the Dolphins do. And that's why I believe Waller is utilized by the Raiders, because he's really their best weapon. They've had some injuries at the wide receiver position. I've seen Zay Jones make plays, and if Zay Jones is making plays, that tells you that they're not 100% healthy right now. So how do we stop them? We keep the linebackers on them. They do a good job, and we also are playing a nickel coverage as well, and that also helps against tight ends.
I miss Zay, man. It really redefined the naked bootleg term.
Yeah, he was good at running it.
We'll move on then to picking the game. A little bit of trivia. The last time we beat the Raiders franchise on the road was?
I believe it was 1991.
1991, a playoff preview of that season as well. So it's been a hot minute since we beat the Raiders on the road. I guess based on your answer about it being for away teams, I don't think the specter of going and facing the Maniacs in Oakland is quite the same playing in an empty stadium in Vegas. Do you see us having any road troubles today? What do you think? What is your pick for the game, Jared?
Oh, okay. So we're going straight into picks?
Yeah.
All right. You know what? 6 years ago, we beat the Packers. Remember that game?
I do.
And then we went on the road to play the Raiders, and we lost. And they had only won 2 games. Now, ironically, right now the Raiders have only won 2 games, but it's only week 4. That was week 16. We should have beat the Raiders so easily in 2014. I know it's a different team. I know it's a different era, quite literally. But we have a knack of not being able to beat the Raiders on the road. It's there, and if we don't go in respecting it, not to mention the fact they've played well this year. They beat the Saints 2 weeks ago. I think we'll still struggle. So, believe it or not, guys, I'm actually going to say that the Raiders are going to win the game 34-30.
Oh, man. Well, I have a high-scoring contest as well, but I have the Bills handling this one easily, 33-20. Next game we'll be back. We're not exactly sure. We reserve the right to come back whenever we feel at this point. Are there any other teams we haven't done this year that are coming back for sure?
No. I mean, this is the only new team. There's not. I think we've covered all the new teams now.
All right.
Yeah.
We're back to full coverage of the NFL. We got you good, NFL. So maybe we'll do a halfway mark of the season. We don't know. But until then, we look forward to seeing you, and go Bills. Oh, inside. Can I do it? Oh, yeah.